Oh boy. Mexicans can't be too happy right now. More Sony news. I have like 3 articles here. It says here, GTA 6 is about to become more expensive to buy in Mexico in August. If what I understand, it's more than just Mexico, it's other regions too. Grand Theft Auto 6 potentially gets pricier in Mexico starting August 20th, as Sony will convert dollar prices to pesos at 20.5 per dollar, above the real rate of roughly 17.53, adding about 238 pesos to the 79.99 edition. Interesting. They can't be happy about that. Starting August 20th, Sony Interactive Entertainment will finally show prices in Mexican pesos on the Mexican PlayStation Store instead of forcing players to pay in US dollars. For years, Mexican players have had to deal with dollar prices and figure out the real cost when the bank charge landed. On the surface, this sounds like good news. Unfortunately, this means that games like Grand Theft Auto 6 will start to cost more, not less, once this is implemented. The main reason for GTA 6 costing more in Mexico from August 20th onwards is because Sony will convert at a rate of 20.5 Mexican pesos to the dollar, quite a bit more compared to the actual exchange rate. On a single $79.99 game like Grand Theft Auto, the gap between Sony's rate and the real rate is roughly 238 pesos. This isn't how regional pricing is supposed to work. As we've already covered previously, regional pricing can and has made GTA 6 cheaper to buy in certain countries. What Sony is doing here is just currency conversion, swapping the dollar figure for a peso figure, except at a rate worse than the real one. It's making games more expensive starting in Mexico and eventually in other Latin American territories, including Brazil. Brazil already got a problem with y'all, Sony. They already suing or investigating. Latin America is huge. And let me see, passionate market for GTA and gaming in general. It's a territory where we've frequently found bootleg and modded copies of the game, among other things. How much the game actually costs in regional currencies matters for people living in these territories. It directly affects whether they can afford it at launch. With the conversion happening on August, well before the November release, GTA 6 will find itself priced under exactly this system in Mexico. Well, I guess they better pre-order it. Pre-order it now. At Sony's rate, $79.99 standard edition would land near 1,640 pesos, and the $99 one would push past 2,000 pesos. The worst part, in Sony's incoming all-digital world, the PlayStation Store becomes the only option. When you remove physical copies and the competition that came with them, a player who thinks Sony pesos price is a ripoff has nowhere else to go. There is no local retailer undercutting the digital price or retailers trying to price out each other, because increasingly there is no one else in the equal at all. This must be like a translated, because I've seen a couple of hiccups here. The unfavorable exchange rate and the disc phase out have two halves of the same greedy squeeze. See, this is the reason why physical copies still need to be printed. And, it was part of Sony's argument that they didn't have a monopoly because of the retail market, because of them printing discs and resale and all that different stuff. But now, it's arguable, they do have a monopoly. To be fair, Sony did not do this purely out of the blue. and it is not entirely a villain move. Profeco, Mexico's consumer protection agency, was the one who pushed for this, primarily after a citizen complaint arguing it was unfair to force Mexican players to pay in dollars without local taxes shown. So the shift to local currency is in part Sony complying with Mexican consumer law, and showing tax inclusion prices up front is a real improvement in transparency. The problem isn't necessarily the switch, rather its specific rate Sony chose. Aha. Not the switch is what they chose to do with it. Rather than doing the exchange rate, they chose to just do it in dollars. Match it like in pesos. Interestingly, this lands in the middle of the market where Sony is already under real pressure. Mexican lawmakers have been preparing an antitrust complaint against Sony over. That's right. I forgot they had an issue too, arguing that the company is heading toward too much control over pricing and distribution, a pricing move that looks like it quietly overcharges players in their own currency. It's not a great look for a company already accused of leaning into on its market power. Well, there it is. I think this article is the only one I really need to read, because I brought up another one and then a post on Twitter. But yeah, I think this covered it. That's the reason why the physical discs are important. So they push for the change, but then they made a change that they didn't want, basically. Sony, you little rascal. Still getting yourself into trouble. Good Lord. Every day there's something. Every single day. Post your comments down below. Let me know what you think of the situation, and I'll talk to you soon.